All right, popping back in for our last segment. Go through the intros real quick. Professor Nim, signing on with Boston Jarrett,
What up? What up?
with Sands, the casual Ran, and my man, Coach Dave. But we make up the pundits of pugilism. In our last segment, before we jump into that, we want you to like and subscribe, get these numbers up, run these numbers up, as they say. But we're going to talk about which could be one of the top fights of 2025 because I'm pretty sure that's when they are slated to jump into the ring, and that is the announcement of David Morrell versus David Benavidez at 175 pounds. So this is a non-title fight, correct?
This is a non-title fight, man. What should be an eliminator for the
Um,
winner of Better Bev
for the
and
undisputed, yeah,
yeah. Even though
and Bivol, yeah,
to be fair, look, Morrell and Benavidez have not done much at 175 at all. Morrell did not look good at all, in what people considered a controversial win or a gift decision against Hot Rod, and
yeah,
Benavidez definitely did not impress against a Vosdick who was coming off of 3 years of retirement. I know that he had three fights leading up to the Benavidez fight, but those three guys that Vosdick fight were guys I had never ever heard of.
mhm.
So both guys not coming off of the most scintillating of performances, but this is a fight that should have happened at 168 pounds. Look, to me, this is Christmas come early. I was happy as hell when I heard this news earlier today. The news about this fight kind of broke prematurely last week. It kind of got out there into boxing. The bigger channels were talking about a potential Benavidez and Morrell showdown. And then I believe Benavidez came out later the next day, and insisted that he was fighting Jesse Hart. I think Samson Lukovics, who is the manager slash promoter or whatever capacity he serves Benavidez. Lukovics came out and denied it. Lukovics is, in my opinion, a very, very dubious source of information at this point. But he denied it. Benavidez' camp denied it. Lo and behold, a week later, the news gets dropped that we're getting David versus David, and I couldn't be happier, man. I think that this when you match these guys early, you set the table for these trilogy fights. If you wait until these guys are in their late 30s or whatever, you really kind of you're not maximizing your earning potential. I mean, Leonard was able to fight Hearns what, three times
Yeah.
because of when they were matched. They didn't match Leonard and Hearns when they were 160 pounders or 168 pounders and they were in their late 30s in the decline. They matched those guys early. And
Yeah,
that's how you're
at
able to
welterweight.
establish those trilogies. We have the chance here to us to lay the groundwork for what could be a tremendous trilogy of fights, depending on how the fight plays out. Um, I think. Go ahead. Did you want to give your just quick on the how this fight materialized, or you
Well,
want to
yeah,
go?
I do want to say because we were under the impression that David Benavidez was going to fight on the undercard of Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, right? So this
Yeah,
came out of left field for me. Like this was truly, I mean, of course we're getting a real fight because he was supposed to fight Jesse Hart
and
under the
that fight
undercard.
probably would have been on Tank's undercard.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm loving this fight. I give both of the Davids props for their good Goliath type feat in the sense that these are both young fighters, both undefeated fighters. Benavidez is 27 years old. David Morrell is 26 years old, and they could have any excuse and use every excuse to avoid this fight. It's not for a title, it's for a title eliminator. They've both been champions at 168 pounds. But they
Not real
are
champs, to be clear. sorry to cut you off, but I want to make sure we maximum
Well,
accurate.
David Benavidez has been a real champ. You don't think
Yes,
yes, but not
Morrell
yeah,
has
yeah.
Morrell had
Morrell
some
has not, yeah.
secondary
Yeah,
title.
he did
Yeah.
have it. Yeah. Um, but at the same time, he was, he had as you like to phrase it, a Reggie belt.
He
But
had the Tank Davis belt.
he only has 11 fights in there, so he could have fought, and his team could have found any excuse not to take this bout. And I really commend them for it. I think that this is going to be has the potential to be the best fight of 2025. Just kind of I'm really kind of tired of playing these waiting games, whether it's with Terrence Crawford or Canelo Alvarez or
Over
all this other.
marination, over marination
Exactly.
of these fights, that it's really has hurt the sport. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, absolutely. What real quick, when it comes to the Morrell's record, I don't really see that as much of a factor when you're talking about these prolific amateurs. And to be clear, Morrell was not the same caliber of amateur as we have seen from the other Cubans. The guys look like the Gamboas, the Rigos, the
Mhm.
Lauras, the Robesi Ramirez. These guys were the highest of high level amateurs. You're talking about multiple gold medal winning type guys. I believe Robesi, Rigo, and Gamboa are both two-time gold medal winners. Morrell not cut from that cloth. He still allegedly, apparently, has somewhere in the realm of 300 plus amateur fights. That is a lot of rounds boxed. And if you look at his rounds boxed compared to Benavidez's rounds boxed, Benavidez, whose amateur experience and pedigree is, from what I understand, is non-existent, I'd be willing to bet that Morrell has more rounds boxed than David Benavidez.
Mhm.
Similarly to Israel Madrimov, uh, Vasil Lomachenko, and the like. These prolific amateurs, you cannot look at their pro records and say, oh, well, that they're only 10-0 or 12-0 or 15-0. They've got a lot of experience under their belt. And to me, that's how I look at it.
Well, what do you think is his best win in the pros?
His best opponent is probably Lennox Allen. You're talking about Morrell, right?
Yeah, I'm around.
You're talking about Morrell. It's probably Lennox Allen, and people are going to be looking at like who is Lennox? Who is Lennox Allen? Um, Lennox Allen is an average fighter. Um, so yeah,
So this
no notable wins to write home about. No, definitely no
so
notable
this is a
wins. He's
massive
lacking there.
yeah, this is a massive step up for him
It
though.
is a massive step up. It is a massive step up, but I will tell people David Morrell, for the majority, if not all of his amateur career, fought at 175 pounds in the amateurs. So Morrell is used to fighting with this added weight. He's used to fighting larger guys. I think Morrell, um, the type of opponents that he has been fed over the last several fights has has stagnated him a bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right, Cam. It's a valid point. Look, he doesn't have any notable wins, and this is a huge step up in opponents for him. Um, I think this is quite a step up for Benavidez as well. As much as I've been a champion and I've been an advocate for Demetrius Andrade on this platform. I think that in hindsight, Demetrius does not really have the power or the durability to compete against the higher level 168s. Definitely not guys like Benavidez and Morrell, who were
Mhm.
starting their careers professionally at 168. Uh that's different. When you're going in against guys that are, Morrell, who fought his amateur career at light heavyweight, and a guy like Benavidez, who was weighed 300 pounds at one point as a teenager,
Mhm.
and Demetrius is a guy who's fought at 154 pounds from most of his career, 154 and 160. I think he was biting off a little bit more than he can chew. That's not going to be the case with Morrell. Morrell is used to fighting, has more rounds boxed against guys Benavidez's size. And if you look at Benavidez's performance against guys his size, you look at how the performance against Vosdick, you look at the fight against who was the Romanian guy who knocked him down in his in that fight?
Well,
Another
yeah,
one.
I mean, yeah, I know you're talking about, but I will say that with um David Benavidez fighting Morrell, there is going to be a step up a bit in kind of like class and technical proficiency, but and I'll find the name real quick. But do you think that Morrell is more technically proficient um
And by
than
leaps and bounds.
no than Boo Boo? I'm
Is
not.
he
Yeah, of
more
course.
te is he more technically proficient? Is he a more
Than
technical
Demetrius
fighter than
Andrade.
Boo Boo? I think yes, and I say yes because of Demetrius's awkwardness. Demetrius does a lot of stuff that I don't think you would see in a boxing instructional manual. So when you talk to me and you ask me about who's more technical, I think Benavidez, Morrell, coming from that Cuban school of boxing, is the more technically sound guy. Boo Boo does a lot of stuff that, again, you would not see being taught at your local gym. It's his own kind of style of kung fu. It makes him awkward. It makes him unpredictable. But no, I don't think he's as technical as Morrell. No, I don't think he's as technical as Morrell.
All right. So the fighter, the Romanian fighter you're talking about is Ronald
Gavril.
Gabriel. Yeah. And they
Yeah,
fought twice, actually. So
that's right. They did fight twice, and both those fights went the distance. And in the first fight, Gavril put Benavidez on his ass.
yeah, in round, it was the last round. So he lost a split decision, and then the second fight was a wider decision, but he did go the distance with him, and um that stands as two of his only three losses. He lost a unanimous decision to Elvin Ayala, who's a fighter that he probably should have beat. This was a close fight, but I mean he's still a worthy opponent. But it does speak to his his vulnerability. Sometimes he likes to square up when he gets fighters against the ropes, and he will leave himself open. But right, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We're really excited about this fight being announced. I give David Benavidez props. He had already had a fight that he was negotiating. He was going to fight on the undercard with for Tank Davis, but now he is going to headline the pay-per-view, which it says a lot. If a non-title fight that's headlining a pay-per-view speaks to the caliber of these fighters, and also the implications, for this bout. And as pundits of pugilism, we are super excited that this fight is going to take place. It looks like January the 25th is the date of the fight.
Looks like it should be a pretty decent card too, man. Boo Boo coming back against Jamal Charlo, allegedly. I'm happy to see Boo Boo back. I wish that, I'm not a huge Jamal Charlo fan, but I don't know that they're doing Jamal Charlo any favors by throwing him in there against Boo Boo, uh, straight out of, I don't want to say straight out of rehab because I don't know that the man was in rehab, but man, it should be an action-packed fight though, for however long it lasts, the Boo Boo Charlo fight. And the same with this fight. The same with this Morrell Benavidez fight, man. I think Benavidez gets hit too much.
You
I think
see a
Benavidez,
stoppage? Well,
I
we
think
won't get too
Benavidez gets
much
hit too
into.
much. I don't see a stoppage on, and I say that because the guys that Morrell has fought who have been his size, when I think of Lennox Allen and Idos Yerbosinola, the guy who we put into a coma, he didn't knock those guys out. He kind of beat those guys up.
Mhm.
Yerbosinola, that fight was stopped way too late. And that ended up being the end of Idos's Yerbosinola's career. But
Yeah.
Morrell has not shown that he can really knock guys out his own size. Likewise with Benavidez. If you look at Benavidez's career, the guys who he has fought that have been his own size, Caleb Plant, who to me is a smaller, on the smaller side for 168. Vosdick, who's a 175 pounder. Keem Ellis, who he did stop very, very, very late. And if you guys remember, that fight was stopped. The corner, uh, Coach Ron, Coach Ron Rivera, I believe, threw the towel in, or the referee stepped in and stopped that fight. Keem could have finished that fight. He was taking a lot of shots, but he wasn't. Didn't seem really badly hurt. Those guys have all gone pretty much the distance with Benavidez. Jarrell got stopped. So that would be the notable win. To me, Jarrell was a legit 168 pounder. But Benavidez, when it comes to guys his own size, man, he's not some one punch power guy. That's not he's an attrition fighter. And Morrell is a guy from that Cuban school of boxing. And I know he didn't show it in that last fight, but he can make you miss. And believe me, Morrell is a guy that's got is a four-dimensional guy that can fight at every single range. He can make you miss. He can counter. Um, and this fight is going to turn into a boxing match. He's not going to be able to just steamroll Morrell, not just march forward with that high guard squared up and just take shots. He's not going to be able to do that. He's going to have to box. He's not going to be able to outbox David Morrell. It's not going to happen.
We'll see. I have my own thoughts about it. I won't get too much into it, but once we get closer, we'll definitely make sure that we will give our fight breakdown and pundits picks. But we just wanted to put y'all on this fight on the radar, January 25th. We look forward to this. It's a great way to open up the year. And like I say, I want to salute both fighters for taking on this challenge and giving the fight fans what they want to see. All right, with that said, we are going to sign off. We appreciate y'all rocking with us tonight. This is your man, Professor Nils. I'm signing off for Boston Jared. Make
Peace.
sure that you like and subscribe. And we are ending another segment of Pop Talk. Peace out, y'all.